Late today, we learned police had made the arrest in Hollywood. This is a case we've been following since September. That's when the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas was discovered in the trunk of a Tesla registered to David at a Hollywood tow yard. LAPD homicide detectives have been working the case for months, focused on whether they could find sufficient evidence that Celeste had been murdered and whether they could prove it was David who was responsible. Now, he'd been out of sight for months and was believed to be staying with family in Texas, but we learned today he'd been living in Hollywood. NBC4's Robert Kovacik is live in the Hollywood Hills, where that arrest took place today. Robert.
Yeah, Carolyn, let's give you a little bit of perspective as to where we are here in the Hollywood Hills. This is Marmont Avenue, if that sounds familiar to you. It is right off the Sunset Strip, just above the famed Chateau Marmont Hotel. Now, it was here in the house behind me as you take a closer look at the front door, where now we will give you a chance to look at the LAPD operation as it unfolded at 4:30 this afternoon. These are images just released by the LAPD, they say, of the arrest here on Marmont Avenue of the singer David, they say, for murder. Now, when we arrived here on scene, this is later in the evening, you can see a number of LAPD officers. They represent robbery, homicide, as well as the gang and narcotics unit here, assisting in the arrest, also assisting in the investigation. Now, the investigation into this house, presumably where David lived, we have looked it up. It's been leased for about $15,000 a month, but there is a for lease sign on it, so perhaps he was vacating the house upon his arrest or going to be vacating the house. But as you take a look from News Shopper 4 overhead, you can see that they are leaving with evidence boxes, evidence collected from inside of the house. Now, you mentioned that the LAPD has been looking into David for some time. We have spoken with LAPD Captain Scott Williams of Robbery Homicide Division confirming the arrests, and he said, "We came to the house with a probable cause arrest warrant for him." He went on to say, and I'm quoting here, "We did the best we could to keep tabs on him, but once we developed probable cause to arrest him for murder, then we were on him pretty diligently." And diligently they were. Again, LAPD officers left here about 9 o'clock this evening, and the moment that they left, Carolyn, we went and knocked on the door. There was no answer. LAPD telling NBC4 tonight that no one else was arrested or taken into custody, whoever was in the home with David at the time he was arrested at 4:30 this afternoon. Also outside of the home, we believe, was one of his attorneys, and those attorneys issuing a statement tonight. Let us show you that right now. It says here, "Let us be clear. The actual evidence in this case will show that David did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence." Now, the DA does confirm that they are going to review the case to see if there is sufficient evidence for them to move forward with their case. So David right now has been taken into custody. He will remain behind bars, we understand, for the weekend until he faces a judge on Monday. And David right now, Carolyn, is being held without bail. That's the very latest here in the Hollywood Hills. I'm Robert Kovacik. Let's go back to you.
All right, Robert, thank you for that.